guys, what's up? I hope you're having a great day today. I'm here with my dog Ella. She's going to be taking a nap while I talk about our devotion today. So, one of your questions for me was, how can I be a good example for my lost friends? Unbelieving friends, non-Christian friends, and I have an answer for you. And it's a loaded question. I could go on for hours about this, but I'm going to really try to condense it and just get to the bare bones of it. So we are faced with a daily choice to either honor God or to disobey Him and dishonor Him. So to be a good example is to mirror Jesus in all the situations that we may face in life. 1 John 2:6 says, whoever claims to live in Him must live as Jesus did. So a long time ago, they came up with the phrase, what would Jesus do? And we had WWJD bracelets that we wore. And the thing is, he probably wouldn't have gotten himself into this situation in the first place. So I have no idea what Jesus would do, right? But we can learn a lot from Jesus and how He treated others and through His ministry. And even the apostles that lived after Jesus, we can learn from them as well. But we must first study the gospel and know it to see how He lived. So, to answer this question, how you respond to situations are going to set you apart as a Christian, and they're really going to be your testimony. So here are a few characteristics of Christians, just very generalized things that you need to be living life as to set a good example. So the most important one, number one, is love. The Bible is full of love. It is the main point of the Bible. God gave His Son for us out of love. Jesus died for us out of love. So we do all things out of love for God and for others. In 1 John 4:11 through 12, 1 John 4:11 through 12, it says, dear friends, since God so loved us, we ought also to love one another. No one has ever seen God, but if we love one another, God lives in us, and His love is made complete in us. So if we outpour our love onto others, that's evidence that God is in us and that we have the Holy Spirit. So let love be your testimony of God's goodness and of His grace and His faith. And then number two, another characteristic that you can show to your friends is humility. It's seeing a need and serving in that capacity to meet the need. Humble yourself and serve others. In John 13, it's a very famous passage, and I've already talked to y'all about this many times in youth group. But in John 13, Jesus washes the feet of His disciples. This was a very humble act. The lowest slaves were given this job to wash the feet of people who came to a household party or a dinner. And Jesus, He didn't have to do it, but He did. He saw the need. He stepped up to the plate and He got it done, and He did it out of love for them. But in John 13, verse 14 through 15, He says, now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you should also wash one another's feet. I have set for you an example that you should do as I have done for you. So Jesus is our example to live by. He is the standard. All right, if you're doing the Devo challenge, you're looking for a clue phrase in this video. The clue phrase is, and keeps them is the one. So I'll say it again. The clue phrase for the Devo challenge video 2, and keeps them is the one. All right, A few other characteristics that you could show is compassion and mercy and grace, and a balance of grace and truth, being honest, but being forgiving, being kind, being compassionate for others and for the lost. Lastly, I want to talk about how the early church set a Christian example in society. For one of my classes, I had to read this book, and it's called When the Church Was a Family by Joseph Hellerman. I do recommend this book. I thought it was really interesting. But he talks about a lot of things in this book about how the church exhibited family-like ties, and that they were very close, very one unit. But it says Christians' behavior towards one another and towards those outside the church reached people more so than our doctrine did. So how they reacted to each other, how they interacted with society, really made the biggest impact. And he talks about a story in here. I couldn't find it, but basically, back in the early times when somebody was put in prison, they were put in a cell, and a lot of times that they would not get food or water or anything. They would have to rely on their family to bring it to them. Well, Christians considered people their family, so if they had a member that was getting persecuted and he was in jail, they would bring the food and drink to sustain him while he was in jail for persecution. And people from society saw that, and they thought that was such an amazing act of love that it attracted them in to this religion. And that's how the early church grew. And so I thought that was just amazing. And so what if we exhibited these qualities towards one another through love, through compassion, through mercy, through grace, through humility, then we could really grow the church amazingly. So I know that was a long answer to a question that seems so simple, but how can I be a good example for my lost friends? Just love them, be there for them, show them how to live according to Jesus, and I think you'll find that you'll make a good impact on their life. All right, thanks for tuning in. I'll see y'all next time.